Imagine this. It's the 1500s. You're not a soldier, not a king, just someone who got a little too involved in the wrong conversation with the wrong people about the wrong monarch. Treason, they called it. You called it a really bad week. The trial didn't take long. Trials for this particular crime rarely do. And before you've even fully processed the verdict, you're already hanging. Rope around your neck, feet off the ground, crowd noise fading in and out as your body figures out something is very wrong. The problem, you think, at least it's over soon, but unfortunately for you, this isn't even close to the worst part. Oh hey there, before we look at how it's possible to get even worse from the position you're in right now, let's look at a few facts about hanged, drawn, and quartered. 1. This wasn't reserved for random criminals. This was specifically, almost exclusively, the sentence for high treason, plotting against the monarch, essentially the worst crime the state could imagine, which, arguably, says a lot about what the state thought worst should look like. 2. The sentence was designed quite deliberately to be survivable between stages. You weren't supposed to die quickly. Every step existed to keep you alive long enough to experience the next one. That's not incidental. That's the whole design brief. This particular punishment is English, formalized under royal law around the 13th century, and it stuck around officially for over 500 years. It was reserved almost exclusively for high treason, plotting against the crown, which made it less a standard execution and more a statement. The monarchy wanted treason to look like the worst possible ending a person could face. So the punishment was engineered, quite literally, to be the worst possible ending a person could face. It consists of 3 stages. Stage 1, hanging. Not the quick, neck-snapping kind. That's a later invention designed for mercy. This is a short drop, sometimes none at all, so your own body weight slowly cuts off blood flow to your brain. Executioners often cut you down before it finished. The goal wasn't death, it was near death. Then a second chance to keep going. Stage 2, drawing. Historically, drawn meant being dragged to the site by horse, the stage we opened on. But by this period, the word had shifted to mean something else, disembowelment. An incision opens your abdomen, and your intestines are pulled out, sometimes burned in front of you while you're still alive to watch. This is the stage the whole sentence was really built around. Stage 3, quartering. What's left of you is cut into 4 pieces, sometimes by horses, sometimes by blade. Whether you're still alive depends entirely on how the first 2 stages went. Afterward, the pieces weren't buried. They were displayed publicly, often on spikes above city gates, sometimes for years. The punishment didn't end at death. It continued as a warning. Okay, let's get back to you, currently hanging by the neck in front of a crowd, about 30 seconds away from stage 2. First 10 seconds, your body's already fighting back before your brain's caught up. Your legs are kicking, not because you're panicking on purpose, but because your spinal cord is firing reflexively, trying anything to relieve pressure on your neck. Your hands are pulling at the rope, if they're not bound, purely on instinct. 15 to 20 seconds in, the pressure's cutting off blood flow through your carotid arteries. Not your airway yet. That takes more force than body weight alone usually provides in a short drop. Your brain's oxygen supply is dropping fast, and unlike a slow bleed out, this is closer to a valve closing. Vision tunnels almost immediately. Sound distorts, muffled, distant, like the whole crowd stepped back a few feet. 30 seconds, you're losing consciousness. Your face is darkening, congested with blood that can't drain properly because your neck's compressing the veins more effectively than the arteries, which means blood's still getting partially pumped in, but can't get back out. That mismatch is what gives hanging victims that unmistakable, awful color. By 45 seconds to a minute, you're out. Not dead, out. Your body is still technically alive, brainstem still ticking over, heart still beating, but consciousness is gone. And this is exactly where the executioner steps in. Not to save you, to stop you from getting the easy way out. You're cut down, still breathing, heart still going, and given just enough time to become aware again, aware enough to feel exactly what happens next. You're conscious again, which, in this particular sentence, is not good news for you. Air's coming back into your lungs, awareness returning in pieces, And that's exactly the point where stage 2 begins. An incision opens across your abdomen. First moment, almost nothing. Your body's still catching up from the hanging, still flooded with the adrenaline and endorphins that near asphyxiation triggers, which briefly blunts the signal. That window doesn't last. Within seconds, your abdominal cavity's been opened wide enough to expose what's underneath. Your intestines, roughly 20 feet of them coiled inside you, start being drawn out. Not torn, pulled, deliberately, slowly, because slow was the entire point of this stage existing. Here's the biology that makes this specifically brutal. Your intestines have relatively few pain receptors compared to skin. Cutting them wouldn't hurt as much as you'd think, but the abdominal wall, the peritoneum lining your cavity, is dense with nerve endings. Every bit of pulling, stretching, tension on that lining registers as sharp, specific, unmistakable pain. Your body's basically built to make this exact procedure as excruciating as physically possible, purely by accident of anatomy. Meanwhile, shock is setting in fast. Blood pressure's dropping, not just from blood loss, but from your nervous system essentially overloading. Too much simultaneous pain signal for your body to process cleanly. Depending on the executioner, and depending on how the crowd's reacting, some organs might be removed and burned in front of you while you're still watching. This isn't incidental cruelty. It's specifically why this stage was called the point of the whole sentence. By the time stage 2 ends, you're barely holding on to consciousness. Blood loss and shock compounding fast. And whether you're technically still alive when stage 3 starts depends entirely on how your body's held up so far. Whatever's left of you at this point gets divided into 4. French and Spanish executions often featured horses tied to each limb, pulling in 4 different directions at once. In England, it was often just a blade, working through joints rather than bone, because joints separate far easier than they break. If you're still alive going into this stage, and by now that's genuinely uncertain, your body's in advanced hemorrhagic shock. Blood pressure's bottomed out. Your heart's still trying to beat, but there's barely enough volume left in your system to move. Your brain's running on fumes, and whatever awareness remains is fragmented, disconnected, more sensation than coherent thought. Realistically, though, most people didn't survive this long. Between the hanging and the evisceration, blood loss and shock alone were usually enough to finish the job before the 4th stage even began. Which, historically speaking, might be the closest thing to mercy this entire sentence offered. Not intentional, just biological.